we will present what has been achieved by E-ARK and with the help of funding from the European Commission during the last 10 years. E-ARK was originally a project under the Framework 7 program of the European Commission. It has still preserved its name under the different projects and activities which have been carried out after the original project ended. And the endeavor will continue in the future. In the following, we will first explain the background of E-ARK 3 and the CEF and building blocks. We will give an overview about the E-ARK 3 results, and we give insights into the use cases and benefits from the perspective of the E-ARK 3 project partners. Starting with a bit of background, DLM lobbying started in 2011. The E-ARK project was between 2014 and 2017 and was followed by the E-ARK for All project, which took place in 2018-2019 with the aim to start building the core services platform. Between 2019 and 2021, E-ARK 3, the e-archiving building block, was finalized. The future is now to build the e-archiving common services platform under the Digital Europe program. We were ranked first in the procurement and are now in the process of signing the contract. There is a 2-year contract with the possibility to extend for 2 separate years. The key elements are to create the core services, create the environment for capacity building, define an e-archiving curriculum, and establish relations with digital cultural heritage and other data spaces initiatives. The European Commission's mission is to support projects to use basic components based on standards that ensure that systems will be able to communicate with each other. These basic digital components are called building blocks. The concept of building block might now be changed under the Digital Europe program. The e-archiving building block consists of the policy owner and stakeholder management office, both represented by the European Commission, and the service provider, represented by the E-ARK 3 consortium. The building block is to be seen in the context of Connecting Europe, which focuses on joint activities on the future of Europe, democracy, youth, climate, migration, and other key issues. The E-ARK 3 consortium consisted of national archives, such as the ones from Estonia, Slovenia, Finland, Norway, Denmark, and Switzerland, as well as a federation of city archives from Sweden. Then there are universities and research institutes, such as the Southeastern Finland University of Applied Sciences, UNESCO ID from Lisbon, and the AIT Austrian Institute of Technology. Technology providers are Keep Solutions, ES Solutions, and Pickle. Further, there are private consultancy companies such as GOR, Polyphon, Gabinette, and Highbury. And finally, there are community organizations such as the Open Preservation Foundation and the DLM Forum. So what was the e-archiving building block in the context of E-ARK 3? First, there were standard specifications. The E-ARK Common Specification for Information Packages provided standards for submission, archiving, and dissemination. Then there was a standard for relational databases in form of the CIAT standard, for geodata in form of the Inspire Directive, and for e-health, some preparation for future work was done. Regarding sample software, a relational database archiving and reuse tools were created, pre-ingest and zip creation tools, long-term repository solutions, and an online validation tool was set up. Regarding support, the service desk has been established, training and user guides were prepared, the knowledge center was created, and the E-ARK general model was put in place. Regarding onboarding and follow-up, there was awareness raising, conformance and compliance, a maturity assessment service was prepared, and webinars and workshops were held. So what are the benefits of e-archiving? It can ensure a high level of security by using standards. It guarantees interoperability to package and transmit archival data between different systems. And it can ensure the digital archival systems are scalable from small to large. And how did the building block help here? It offers a set of standards and sample software. It gives access to a community for knowledge sharing and the latest digital preservation and archival technologies. And it includes consultancy and training in digital preservation risks and their mitigation. One of the success stories was the EU Publications Office. They were facing the challenge to preserve law information with e-signatures in the long term. The solution was to implement archiving standards such as OIAS, METS, PREMIS with support from the e-archiving building block. The e-archiving service helped with specifications, validation, open source software, conformance and support services, as well as the community. Another success story was DG Taxud, which needed a performant digital archive to process many small information packages. A proof of concept with e-archiving tool RODA demonstrated that the required data volume and efficiency could be achieved. Concepts for validation, conformance, and compliance have been defined. Validation is a yes-no type of test against a set of validation rules. Conformance means that all IPs of a digital archive are valid, and compliance means that a digital archive can demonstrate conformance, plus additional requirements by law, for example. For testing conformance of information packages, a service exists at www.itb.ec.europa.eu/sef/itb. It is required to register and authenticate via EU login. The tests have also been demonstrated in a webinar. Several projects have recently received funding from the European Commission in the context of e-archiving. There is the e-archiving of Engineering and Science Library coordinated by PICL, the E-ARK European Jewish Community Archive coordinated by Stitching Jewish Heritage Network, Protecting Oral Histories using Blockchain coordinated by IIT Austrian Institute of Technology, and finally One-Click e-archiving coordinated by the University of Applied Sciences in Finland. The first project is the e-archiving of Engineering and Science Library led by PICL. The main objective of this action is to adapt existing digital archives and repositories in engineering and science and apply common specifications for information packages established under the e-archiving building block. The action includes an upgrade of open source software Archivematica and PICL Connect to make it conformant to existing e-archiving specifications. In addition, the user needs and requirements of data owners will be identified and detailed to support the development of e-archiving specifications for their workflows by using the open source digital archiving and preservation services and tools such as Archivematica and PICL Connect. The second project is the E-ARK European Jewish Community Archive. The objective here is to deploy a community-driven approach to long-term integrity and accessibility of heritage materials in line with the specifications provided by the e-archiving building block. European Jewish Community Archive will bridge the gap between Jewish community archives and technology providers with the means to provide infrastructural service, support and advice. The action will create E-ARK, a comprehensive long-term digital repository solution for small and mid-size Jewish heritage stakeholders. It will offer cloud services to ingest, preserve and distribute a wide range of materials, interviews, recordings, documents, etc. The third project is Protecting Oral Histories using Blockchain, led by the IIT Austrian Institute of Technology. The goal of the project is to archive oral history of people's memories, feelings and attitudes. ProHub will make use of the European blockchain service infrastructure to implement a trusted data sharing approach together with the data archiving principles and standards provided by the e-archiving building block. Finally, there is One-Click e-archiving led by the Southeastern Finland University of Applied Sciences. The goal is to build a simple-to-use one-click solution which allows users to convert their existing archival data into an e-ARK-compatible format and to enrich metadata making use of data sources such as Europeana, Finna or other open data sources. We will now have a look at e-ARK results, what has been achieved so far, and what exists as a basis for future work. Many activities have been initiated by the e-ARK coordination. First, there was a high impact of outreach events. In 2021, there were several key events organized by both the e-archiving building block and CEF, including e-archiving in action, the Trust Café, and the digital meetings. E-archiving was strongly recommended. Second, there was a step change in onboarding response. Following these sessions, there was a very noticeable increase in our onboarding contacts, with the European Commission's departments getting in touch for long-term help. Third, regarding e-archiving e-signature collaboration, in December 2020, those two building blocks met to discuss close collaboration in order to provide a joint offering to users. Fourth, regarding future directions, we are now working with the Archiver project in the research infrastructure domain, the Digital Cultural Hub, and members of the Engineering Data Space. We are preparing to move forward in terms of the Digital Europe program. The core services are based on specifications with their corresponding requirements. Technically, requirements can be validated against XML schemata or more complex schematron rules. E-ARK 3 provided sample software compliance and support services. There is now improved specification support. Previously available sample software was extensively tested and improved to meet the version 2.0.4 of E-ARK IP specifications. All components are now on the next level of conformance. There is new software to support specifications. The brand new eHealth zip creator and the E-ARK IP viewer software components became available at the end of October 2021. There is a reference implementation, a dedicated public instance of E-ARK Web, which has been made available to everyone who wants to see how E-ARK IPs can be created and managed. And finally, there's the service desk. The e-archiving service desk was available to the wider community to provide help for everyone to improve their state of digital preservation. Regarding release management, E-ARK 3 provided a method for managing component releases. The aim was to sustain the conformity and technical compatibility between the versions and revisions of the components of the e-archiving service portfolio. This allows regular updates of the release roadmap following a release management strategy. No news is good news. The release management has been going smoothly without any issues. Regarding the reference architecture, version 1.0 was ready by the 31st of October. Both web-based and Archimate versions are available, revised introductory sections have been described, and there are example business scenarios and real-world application component layouts. To infinity and beyond, the work continues. Further ideas are archival by design approach, OAS gap analysis, and requirements. Join the work, share your thoughts, help piloting the reference architecture, create your own scenarios and component layout. The training activity produced a lot of helpful webinars, which got a positive response. This helped developing the e-archiving user community. There are webinars for onboarding, and in the future, the training needs will be influenced by inquiries coming from the service desk. Uptake is very important, as it shows the adoption of the e-archiving building block and the growing relevance of digital preservation. We have worked together with several organizations from different countries, helping them in the e-archiving building block onboarding process. Regarding new domains impact, an effort is made to go outside the traditional domains associated with the digital. We have worked together with research data community, with other building blocks such as e-signature, with European Union agencies, and with the health sector. We promoted different user communities focusing on different domains such as financial, engineering, research data, government, e-health, and geospatial. And there was the e-archiving generic services call. On the first e-archiving call, we had 9 valid applications out of 13 from 36 organizations, which was recognized as a great success and demonstrates interest in the e-archiving building block. From these, 4 projects were chosen for funding. Finally, the aim is to develop a user community. Lots of interest and growing awareness of e-archiving building blocks are achieved through organization and participation in different events intended for the 3 types of stakeholders: archives, data producers, and solution providers. For helping, we have also developed a maturity assessment tool. We will now give a quick overview about E-ARK use cases and benefits by looking at statements of the E-ARK 3 partners. Through cooperation with the E-ARK 3 Consortium and the European Commission, the Danish National Archives learned about e-archiving as a European Commission policy. They got insights into the specifications, the reference architecture, as well as sample tools for the creation, validation, and presentation of information packages. Further, they received training in applying e-archiving and participated in outreach to promote the importance of e-archiving. The archives of the Republic of Slovenia got insights into eHealth 2 use cases and scenarios. They learned about new database preservation tools and got insights into advanced geodata use cases. And they participated in building the reference architecture. The DLM Forum learned about community leadership. They played a leading role in developing open source software tools and services for digital preservation. They got community opportunities. The DLM Forum made it possible for many member organizations in E-ARK when it would not otherwise have been possible. They learned about community knowledge. The DLM Forum has supplemented the E-ARK training program by instituting its own series of webinars, thereby increasing community knowledge. And they contributed to community expansion. Driven by their own improved profile in E-ARK, the DLM Forum has increased the membership, broadening the community for the benefit of all. Polyphone learned to have a different view on processes. They learned that interoperability between organizations really means interoperability between the processes run by these organizations. They learned about the need of specifications to achieve interoperability. SID Archivera got knowledge through the webinars, a toolbox for their members to enable them building SIPs, an eHealth 1 packaging standard which helped them in the creation of SIPs with patient medical journals, and the updated CERT standard which provided them with tools for database archiving. The Swiss Federal Archives, which participated through the DLM Forum, gained exchange and inspiration, support and improvement, as well as commitment and success, and they were interested in everything that had to do with the CERT format and Suite 2.2. Gabinette Umbus SL learned about a new approach for working in multinational and multidisciplinary environment and how to benefit their client base. They got new opportunities by learning about the e-archiving building block and acquired knowledge for further developing their business. Thanks to E-ARK 3, GOR was able to start a business by identifying a whole new market. They learned about the needs of the new customer base and gained experience and knowledge to allow to win the new business. Highbury got a new opportunity in Ireland by coordinating E-ARK 3 with DNA. There are new project possibilities and they have broadened their base of operations into areas where the company was not previously working in, such as e-health. They have learned from leading the training activity, which will be a central part of their portfolio in the future. The National Archives of Finland have been benchmarking their practices by looking into database preservation and geoinformation case studies and doing reference architecture work. They have learned about new tools and guidelines and were able to network with professionals and increase their skills around digital preservation. The training and learning possibilities have provided them with a better understanding of CEF building blocks. Keep Solutions learned their way from research to market. They were part of the project since its early stages. Thanks to E-ARK, they have now gained international visibility and were able to reach new markets and international clients. Inspired by E-ARK, they thought more thoroughly about compliance and certification and made sure their software is compliant with international specifications and best practices. Thanks to the cooperation with large international organizations, they were able to expand their knowledge and to cope with more advanced use cases. The Southeastern Finland University of Applied Sciences got EU-wide connections. They have now a place in the DLM Forum's executive committee. From Finland, they have now reached out to a wider community in Europe. The European Commission funded the one-click e-archiving project, which allows them to develop e-archiving software compliant with e-archiving standards. The National Archives of Estonia gained new connections and were able to improve the quality of their archival operations. They saved money by making use of specifications which they did not have to develop themselves. They were able to increase their knowledge to be a public sector archiving competence center in Estonia. In terms of software, they were able to work in the field of database preservation and got insights into the E-ARK standard and related software. The National Archives of Norway were able to discuss archiving-related challenges and even able to solve them. They adopted principles developed in E-ARK and gained new insights by participating in the reference architecture work. They were participating in discussions related to the E-ARK standard, which allowed them to employ the standard in practice. The Estonian Academy of Arts gained knowledge and professional experience related to archiving practices. They got new contacts and ideas and bring in their knowledge in developing the one-click e-archiving project. They got inspiration by the ability to continue PhD studies for the development of digital preservation in the organization. INESC ID got a deep understanding of the digital archiving community. They reached an engagement of the research data community with the digital archiving community. Thanks to E-ARK, they were able to participate in ISO committees on topics addressed within E-ARK 3, and they gained further funding opportunities. AIT learned about the archiving needs of companies and organizations. They have now a better understanding of how the CEF building blocks can help the community to work more closely together at the European level. With ProHub, they started a new project making use of the e-archiving and blockchain building blocks. And they have expanded their network in the archiving community. Pickle learned about best practice in writing e-archiving specifications. They got greater depth of knowledge in the area of e-health. And they got experience and knowledge to win 2 projects, Science and Engineering and One-Click e-archiving. They gained experience of running a very focused software development with very specific outcomes for low cost and in limited time. OPF gained a deeper understanding of the needs of their archive members. They established a connection with a community focused on addressing interoperability between archival systems and organizations. And they got the opportunity to work on open source software for information package validation. ES Solutions increased their knowledge of international conditions regarding digital preservation. They have also improved their visibility in an international context and were able to expand their network in the area of digital information management. They have now a more mature software portfolio and comprehensive functionality in their solution for digital preservation. Thank you for listening. Follow the e-archiving hashtag on Twitter or LinkedIn, for example, to stay tuned.